absolutely. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
Yeah, see, that hitch hadn't moved at all. The
Yeah.
entire weight of the truck's on it now.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that gap is still exactly the same.
Yep. That's fantastic. Just to give a little backstory on this, when I got the truck a little over 2 years ago, it came with the hitch receiver that came on it was rated for 17,000 pounds, which was fine for my previous trailer. So when I went to get the new machine this past August, it's beginning of March now, when I got that, I had to get a higher rated hitch receiver, because so basically the biggest one I get was 20,000 pound rated, which is this one, and I had it put on, and they talked about they're going to bolt it on because it was so big they wanted to maybe weld it some too, and so they put it on. I hauled with it the first time and I came back and it was just bent all to heck. And so so what happened is this right here, instead of being parallel like this, when it broke the first time, it bent all the way down like this, and you can see where this and this smashed together. So this was actually kind of squished up. Same thing on the other side. So these are actually bent from, and this is all, it's bent in like this. That was from where it went down the first time. And I learned today that this is actually not attached directly to the truck. It's actually attached to the hitch receiver, which is attached to the truck. So this thing right here just kind of floats out here on this. But you can tell if there's something wrong with the hitch receiver because this will not be lined up. And so here I was out at the Humble Haymaker's place, and I had just gotten my machine off, and then I looked down and my trailer was over here, but the front end of it was lower than it, and you could just tell by looking at it. I was like, wait a second, something's wrong here. And then I looked over here and I saw that it wasn't all the way touching here, but it was angled like this. And I was, uh-oh.
So, believe it or not, they just had to tighten the bolts.
If they had tightened the bolts, it'd probably be fine, except that I bent it all to heck. But
yeah. Well, yeah, obviously still don't hit anything with it.
Right.
But it was a perfect storm.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing.
I'm just proud of my little Nissan forklift to lift this thing up.
Yeah, man. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. It didn't move at all.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Tay Whiteside.
Hi, everybody.
Lift Arc Studios.
Yes, sir.
And I just found out yesterday when I came in to drop the truck off that they've got a YouTube channel, and all of a sudden it's my favorite YouTube channel ever. And you're blowing up, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how fast you've been blowing up, but
this last year was pretty crazy.
Yesterday I was in here and there was like 29 and change when I subscribed, and I got home and there's 30.1 thousand. You crossed 30,000 since I came in yesterday afternoon.
It's been kind of wild. Yeah.
It's like you're on a ride, dude.
Yeah.
And so,
well, we've been working on it for 5 years.
Your channel is fascinating.
Thank you.
I went home and I just couldn't take myself up. I had to run in the back. I actually went and got your live video.
Oh yeah.
Where y'all were sitting at the table and just goofing around and eating and and you were but you're talking about the history and stuff. Of course, I barely know you.
Yeah.
So I found out about your connection with Black Dog Salvage,
Yeah.
and I found out about the history of this place, that you renovated it, and it's fascinating.
Thanks,
Lift
man.
Arc Studios,
Yeah.
go definitely, and it's so cool because and so I went and did this job that I'm on, where I found this problem, and I'm working for a guy with a YouTube channel who's got.
I saw that. I started watching that video.
Did you? So,
yeah.
so that was really cool. And the video that I posted, literally moments before I came here yesterday afternoon, I actually wrote in the description that I haven't even really met another YouTuber, much less actually, certainly had never worked for one.
Yeah.
I literally had just written that in my description, made it public.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then I left. And then I came over here, and the first thing I see is his guy is sitting in here at the computer with Premiere open, and I'm like, well, like, you have a channel?
Yeah, well, I'm a metal fabricator with a YouTube channel. I'm not a YouTuber that welds. There's a difference.
Absolutely, there's a difference. And so sometimes I think, well, I should have gotten that on film. I should have gotten this. I should have gotten this. And the guy that I was working for up there, he was pointing out, he's like, you do so many things. You've got so many tools. You solve so many problems. You really should be getting all this stuff.
Yeah.
And he's right.
Oh, hiring an editor was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, that's on my to-do list.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like he was telling me, it's like, you need to video this stuff. And but I told him, I said, you're a YouTube guy, so you get it. But when I go to do a job for somebody, the last thing I want is to ever go into my my Google reviews and have someone say, well, Mike did a pretty decent job, but it seemed like he was more interested in making the video than he wasn't actually doing the work. And so I'm always balancing that whole thing. It's just like you were saying. It's like, I've got to do the forestry mulching first.
Well, the job comes first, and if you can film it, great.
And if you can film it, great. So
it'll hold you accountable.
Right, it does.
It actually, everything out
in your video with the new MIG welder. You actually said that because you were doing your first.
Oh yeah.
And you said being on YouTube actually really keeps me straight, because if I do crappy welding, y'all are going to call me out.
Yeah, and also, who cares? But still.
Right. So anyway,
the comments are a battlefield.
Yeah, but dude, you have been. So this is the second time Tay has bailed me out of a bad situation.
Yeah, man.
I had so basically last year when I got my new machine, I put I got the new machine. I had to get a new trailer. It was heavier, so I had to get a new hitch receiver on my truck. Well, it got installed by people who you would think would do a really good job on it. And they're super nice guys, but they did a terrible job. And so it immediately broke. Then I fixed it. Or I took it back and they fixed it again, and it went about 6 months, and then it broke again. And so this time I decided, like Tay really helped me out last year, when I had broken skid plates on my Bobcat forestry mulcher. He did a great job on it. So this time I thought, you know what, I'm going to take this thing to a real welder this time. And so he did a phenomenal job, and I'll get under here later.
Here's the hitch. It's on the back of this service bed, and this is how it's held on. They welded. I don't know what they did. They welded this piece to this piece, and with the worst looking welds I've seen in a while. Look at this crap. So
this is also
they welded it to the
8 p.m.
Yeah.
It broke up there.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna break down here. And I'm not kidding. All I did was spray some penetrant oil on these bolts. They are.
That was holding your hitch on.
Oh, unbelievable.
This is a 20,000-pound hitch, and these bolts are.
All 6 were that tight.
Unbelievable.
So I'm gonna pull this hitch off. It's actually holding up.
If the welds didn't break, I wouldn't have been able to remove the hitch so easily. So I'm kind of glad they broke. But
yeah. Well.
But that's almost. I don't want to say you haven't thrown anyone under the bus technically, but that's almost like lawsuit worthy. You know what I mean? Like that is extremely.
I'm not going to mention them on video because I like them. They're good. They seem to be decent guys, and I'm not trying to get them in trouble. But I am going to take some of this video and show it to the boss over there, because they shouldn't be producing. I hauled my 20,000-pound trailer about an hour and a half. About a lot of that was interstate, and about 30 to 40 minutes of it was windy country road, like through the mountains. And I got there, and that's when I realized that my weld was broken. And I found out since then, not only was my weld broken, but
all 6 bolts were loose.
But all 6 bolts were loose, and I was hauling it like that. So I dodged a bullet, and but Tay has got me hooked up here, and so I'm thrilled, and it's not moving. It's not moving now. So
Not
anyway,
that way anywhere close to 20,000 pounds, but
right. So anyway, So kudos to Tay, and go check out his Lift Arc Studios. That's my new favorite thing. I think I'm going to go watch. I've never watched a welding channel before. I've never seen any of that. I was watching it, and I'm just like, it's just so satisfying.
Thanks, man.
Anyway,
well, your stuff's satisfying too.
Cool, thanks. Take care.
See you guys.
Hey. And so when I got back here, I called the company that had installed it before, but I also called Tay. And so later on Monday morning, I went to see Tay, and we climbed up under the truck, and I wish I'd gotten video of that, but you can actually see what the stuff that he said, because he's got some of that in his video. I'm gonna show some of what he did here. So here is where the other people had welded some stuff, and it was just a garbage welding job. But it looks like they did a little bit of fabricating in here to even make this thing all go together, and it just, none of it was well done. So basically this thing was, this plate right here was bent, and the same one on the other side was really bent. And so he straightened those things out. He put this piece in to to keep this from to keep this top piece from bending. So that's a big structural piece. And then he put this piece in on both sides. He just had this piece laying in his shop, and he said, well, let's put it on there. So so the cool thing is, like, his welds are beautiful, and it's kind of what you would expect from somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. But you can't even really tell the difference between his welds and the factory welds on this thing. So anyway, yeah, so you can see he welded this, this piece all the way around on both sides. He's got this piece is in, this piece is in. He really just built this thing so it's not gonna, it's got nowhere to go now. And then the whole thing is held in here, and then here on both sides. And he said he used a 3-foot bar on these to get them as tight as they could possibly be gotten. And so, but he didn't actually end up welding the thing to the frame of the truck, because he said that's just not normally how it's done. These bolts are rated for this. They should hold just fine. But he also said, hey, if you're having trouble with it, bring it back and I'll weld it up. He gave me the option, actually. He said, if you want me to weld it to it, I'll do it right now. But normally they're not. So I said, okay, if they're normally not, then we'll just leave it. So anyway, so that's what happened. And I think I got a really good looking job here. And again, kudos to Tay at Lift Arc Studios. And he's my welder from now on. All right, so I just want to put a cap on this saga of the trailer hitch. It ended up working out really well. So I talked to the boss at the previous shop, and you never know how that's going to go. I've had people respond well to things like that, and people respond poorly. So I just called him, said, I'm not asking for anything. I just want you to know what happened, so that hopefully so it doesn't happen again. He listened, and then basically he said, I know who you're talking about, because this is 6 or 7 months ago. He said, I know who you're talking about. We had another issue. That person's been reassigned. I guess he's still there, but he's in another part of the company, which is great because he's a super nice guy, but he probably does other things better than he welds. And so he said he told me about all the new policies they've implemented with regard to quality assurance. They're only using certified welders. They've got a new floor manager. They've implemented a whole bunch of things that are going to make it so that doesn't happen anymore. And so I was thrilled to hear that. He offered to pay to reimburse me for what I paid to get it fixed this week, which is fantastic. I wasn't looking for that, but seems reasonable. And he also invited me down there to meet with him and his new floor manager so that they could show me their new processes and restore my trust in them, which I think is great. That was actually above and beyond what I would have expected. And so I'm sort of tempted to tell you who they are because, but I'm not going to, since I haven't yet. So, but anyway, the story has a happy ending. It's just a business doing what they ought to do to make things right. And so, and it sounds like their entire process got fixed, in the meantime. So, I'm glad to report that, and all's well that ends well. And thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.